Hi everyone, welcome to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in for the Tuesday 4 p.m. news, politics, and lifestyle show. Nothing more top of the news right now than Hurricane Michael barreling down towards the Florida Panhandle. We have AccuWeather senior meteorologist Dave Samuel Skyping in from headquarters to give us an update. Dave, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Kate. How are you?
We are good up here in the Northeast, but we are certainly keeping an eye on this storm as it approaches the Panhandle in Florida, and it looks like a big one. So give us an update as to where things stand right now with Hurricane Michael.
You got it. Michael continues to head right towards the Florida Panhandle. It's just under 400 miles from Panama City Beach, and it will likely be there in 24 hours. So Michael has sustained winds now to 110 miles per hour. That's just shy of Category 3 strength. We expect it to strengthen a little bit more. Has about 24 more hours over the warm Gulf of Mexico, and it will likely make landfall very close to Panama City. This time tomorrow, literally, we're expecting landfall 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon, and it will be a major hurricane. So likely very severe impacts across the Florida Panhandle are coming their way.
And how wide is the swath of folks that are potentially in the impact zone? And let's talk a little bit about preparations and evacuations.
Okay, yeah, so as far as the size of the cyclone, it's big. Tropical storm force winds extend outward nearly 200 miles. The hurricane force winds are much more concentrated, about 40 miles from the center. So
okay.
We're likely looking at a pretty wide impact because of the tropical storm force winds. They extend over a wide area. So certainly the number one issue is the storm surge. That's why you're being evacuated from the Florida Panhandle. Appalachia Bay, very susceptible to storm surge. We'll see that top out at 8 to 12 feet. Anywhere near and east of Panama City. So that's why we got to get people out of the way. You could shelter from the wind, but that storm surge, you can't run or you can't hide from the storm surge. So you really have to evacuate inland. But we're also looking at the fact Michael will be accelerating as it moves in, and with its intensity as a Category 3 hurricane, it'll take a while to spin down. So it's still going to be a tropical storm Thursday as it's crossing the southeast states, and we'll move through Georgia and South and North Carolina as a tropical storm Thursday. And it'll likely reach the Atlantic coast Thursday night, still near tropical storm strength. So we could see damaging winds very far and usually far inland with Michael through Thursday.
And how do things look right now, Michael? Let's talk about where it's tracking. Obviously, that's the sort of number one duty of the meteorologist, to keep an eye as where it's going. I mean, is there any potential for deviation, or is there a pretty good sense that folks know just the path that Michael's going to take?
It's pretty high. The confidence in the track of Michael is high. It's starting to accelerate. There's a stream flow. We see that it will guide it along. So pretty high confidence in the storm track. You look back to Florence, that was a little tricky because of the steering features were very weak. That's why we had such a slow-moving hurricane with Florence. But now we have well-defined steering features. That's going to move Michael along pretty quick. So that is good news. That'll limit the rainfall from being nearly as extreme as it was during Florence. But again, with that fast speed, it'll take damaging winds well inland. And we'll see it track right through the southeast off the Virginia Cape, so likely somewhere near Virginia Beach. It'll go back out over the Atlantic, and it'll continue moving northeast. It's not out of the question that some rain with Michael brushes the southeast-most New England, but it looks like the worst impacts will stay offshore. But we'll certainly be watching that. That would be during the day Friday when Michael makes its closest approach to New England.
Okay. So if we're up here in Rhode Island, southern New England, the Worcester area as well, so perhaps some potential for rainfall, as you said, looking into Friday.
Yeah, it's an interesting setup because we'll have a cold front coming in on Thursday, and that'll bring heavy rain in its own. Michael won't quite be there by then, but still, there's plenty of moisture. You can feel the humidity in the air out there today. It's going to stay humid until this front arrives Thursday, so there will be downpours. Might even have some flooding issues Thursday and Thursday night. The front will likely push south of the area by Friday, and that should keep Michael to her south. But again, it's going to be close. Eastern Long Island, Newport, we have to watch out. Cape Cod, that's the best chance to see some impacts. It could be some gusty winds, but definitely some rain across the very southeastern edge of New England there.
So talk with us a little bit. Is it storm related that we've got the 75 degrees up here today and a predicted 80 degrees here in Providence tomorrow? What's up with the warm temps up here, Dave?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. We just have this huge mass of warm air over the Atlantic, and it's a wide area that's seeing the warm weather. So Michael's just sort of a little drop in the bucket in a huge weather pattern of warm, humid air. There's a few other things at play here. We have a very cold trough of air in the Rockies, and that's helped to really push this warm tropical air northward over the eastern United States. So Michael is just sort of embedded within all of that warm tropical air. So not quite driving the weather itself.
And can we just ask you while we have you here, we're in the beginning days of October, but September was a very rainy month here in Rhode Island and other parts of New England. Let's talk pattern-wise. I mean, what type of weather pattern, especially up here in New England, are we looking at that we've seen quite a bit of rain in the past few weeks?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's mostly due to the fact we have all this warm, humid air in place. So we've had a series of fronts that have moved in and weakened as they approach, but that just means they slow down. And we've had long duration, heavy rain events, and it's been a repeating pattern. The main trough has been over the Great Lakes, so that has put us in a perfect area to see heavy rain. So, it's been pretty widespread. It has been New England, but many other places have had very heavy rain so far. But I would say the number one impact is just the fact we have so much humidity. The Atlantic's very warm. There's been a lot of moisture available for every storm system that passes through.
What can we expect? Hurricane season goes through what, Dave? The end of October?
It goes through technically the end of November. So later in the season, by the time we get to November, storms usually confined to the Caribbean. They can get nasty hurricanes in the Caribbean in November. In October, though, everybody in the U.S. has to watch out on the east coast of the U.S. and the Gulf of Mexico. We've had hurricanes in the past affect most coastal areas right through October. So we're still right in the heart of hurricane season, I would say.
And let's just talk about the season in general and what we've seen for activity so far. And as you said, what could possibly be expected. What has really dictated the 2018 hurricane season?
Well, we've had some kind of oddball storms. Florence was one storm that was able to survive across the Atlantic. Before Florence, the season was basically themed by dry Saharan dust, and that killed off a lot of storm systems. And we've had several approaching the Caribbean, and there's been a lot of dry air that's limited hurricane activity. And so we've seen even despite the hurricanes, overall the activity's been near to slightly below average through now. So, obviously it only takes one storm to cause problems. We saw that with Florence, and we're going to see it again here with Michael.
So with Michael's landfall expected down in Panama City, as you said, about 24 hours from now, you're at AccuWeather headquarters, and it's probably all hands on deck. What do your next 24 hours look like, Dave?
Yeah, I'll be busy. I do a lot of radio lives across the Northeast, but I'll be doing different kinds of interviews. And it's one of those things when you walk in the door, you never know what to expect. So that's one of the joys of being a meteorologist. It's different every day. So certainly makes it much more interesting when you have something like Michael to deal with.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to Skype in with us up here in Providence as all eyes are down on the safety and well-being of folks in that hurricane path in Florida, and of course keeping an eye on what might result in some rain up here in New England. So Dave Samuel with AccuWeather, we really appreciate your taking the time to Skype in today.
Sure, it's wonderful. Glad to talk to you guys.
Okay, thanks, Dave. We're going to let Dave Samuel, Senior Meteorologist at AccuWeather, go, and we're going to be right back here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center with our next guest. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. I'd like to welcome my next guest in, Dr. Stephen Robinson, the senior pastor at Crosspoint Providence. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Kate.
I appreciate it. Might not be a more fortuitous guest to come up after talking about a natural disaster that's barreling towards Florida in the way of Hurricane Michael. But with you, with Crosspoint, there's a big event going on this week, Prayer Fest.
Yes.
So talk with us a little bit about Crosspoint first, and then talk with us about this week's event.
Crosspoint Church is a church that's about 20 years old. It's a multicultural church, multi-generational church. You're going to find a little bit of everything at Crosspoint. You're going to find black, white, brown. You're going to find Baptists, Methodists, Catholics. It really is a melting pot. One of our mottos is that it should be a house of prayer for all nations, and Crosspoint really is a house of prayer for all nations.
And so speaking of prayer, the event this week, Prayer Fest, let folks know a little bit about what this entails and what you want the community to know about Prayer Fest.
Prayer Fest is something my wife and I started about 5 years ago. And it's really a gathering of churches and leaders and the community to come and just pray for the things that are going on in our city, praying for our families, praying for our children, praying for our government, praying for our schools. All of those things are so important to the life of a community. We really felt like it was important for us to gather together and pray together.
So let's talk about the nuts and bolts time. If folks want to go, let's give them some of the details, which we'll be sure to provide after the interview.
Yeah. This year, Prayer Fest is at the Bishop McVinney Auditorium on Dade Gavitt Boulevard. It's this Friday, October 12th at 7 p.m. It's a free event. We have several different people from worship teams to Christian rap. We have a dance ministry that's going to be there. I mean, it's a very eclectic group of folks, and I think no matter what your genre of Christian music is, you're going to find it at Prayer Fest. Plus, we have several leaders, community leaders, pastors that are also going to be praying during that time as well. So it's from 7 to 10 this Friday. Okay,
I mean, it sounds like a community event, an event of music, celebration, prayer. Right. And here we are. It's a difficult time, for folks around the state and the country as well. How have you found that impacting the membership of the church and bringing in new members?
Yeah, I think one of the problems that we're running into today is, our nation is so divided, and that includes the church. And in the church, you have different cultures, different groups that vote differently politically. How do you bring people together? I think you have to make Jesus at the center of what you're doing, not necessarily government or political affiliations or associations, but at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all flesh and blood, and we really need to rally around each other. Pray for our city, pray for our community, pray for our government, but don't forget the most important thing is that we're family.
And so this event Friday, I mean, is this an appeal to folks in the broader community who might not be involved with a church or a service to come on out and take part as well?
Absolutely. We have some community leaders that are coming. Actually, one of the local barbers, and if you've ever been to a local barber shop, everything that goes on in the community. And so he's going to come, he's going to share a little bit about what's going on in the community from his perspective. One of the things that happens with the church is sometimes we get so stuck in the four walls. It becomes a religious thing versus a community thing. One of my favorite things that I love to say is that Jesus did not come to the earth to start a new religion. He came to find his family that was lost.
Well, anything else you want folks to know about Crosspoint or the Prayer Fest taking place this Friday? I had lots of folks reach out to me, say, you got to feature this, you got to let folks know about it, get the word out about it. Anything else you want to share with folks while we have you here?
I just think it's a great opportunity for people in the community to rally together. There's no charge. This is an event for your entire family. I don't care if you're 8 or 80, you're going to find a place where you fit in. Even with Crosspoint Providence, which is a new church plant that is getting ready to launch in the same place in the next couple of weeks, our church is really saying, no matter where you come from, no matter where you're at on your spiritual journey, you're welcome. And I think that's how Jesus would approach the community as well.
Well, I appreciate your coming in here to tell folks about this opportunity this Friday, a little bit more about the church. Again, we'll provide links as well if you're looking at this after the fact. But Dr. Stephen Robinson, I so appreciate your coming in to tell us about Prayer Fest this Friday. And again, we'll have those links on GoLocal. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center with our next guest. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Would like to welcome in my next guest, a familiar face, Denny DeJesus, with Special Olympics Rhode Island, because it's a very big week.
Oh, it sure is a big week, celebrating our 50th anniversary.
So talk with us. The big gala is this Saturday, and I had the opportunity to have you in before the summer games this summer. So give us a little update about how they went, and then we're going to talk about this weekend's festivities.
Well, summer games were outstanding. You know, it was our first attempt to celebrate our 50th anniversary. Had Billy Gilman in to sing for us and sing and greet the athletes. It was an amazing night, Friday, June 1st, in the Ryan Center. We had a crowd of about 4,000 people in celebration. Athletes marched in. And then Tim Shriver, the chairman of our board for Special Olympics International, was there to greet the athletes. It was an amazing. So step 2 is our gala this weekend at Rhodes on the Patuxent.
So give us the nuts and bolts. If people are going to the gala on Saturday, what can they expect?
They can expect a night of entertainment. Steve Anthony and Persuasion will be our musical group, a great dinner provided by Russell Moore and Catering. But it's an opportunity, Kate, to celebrate. It's to celebrate 50 years of acceptance, inclusion, and respect. And when you think back to 1968, it was a different world. It was a world of institutional living. It was segregation in our schools. And so much has changed over the past 50 years. Members of our community live, work, and go to school in our communities, and they're active participants in our community.
Speaking of community partners, you just got a pretty large gift from the credit unions.
Credit unions of Rhode Island, they're at the top of the list, boy, I can tell you that. They just topped $1 million in donations over a 20-year period. They have embraced the mission and vision of Special Olympics, our movement, and they are truly champions in the eyes of all of our athletes.
And so the games this summer, the gala this winter, you know, Special Olympics is a year-round endeavor. And let's talk about just how much the need for volunteer help is. I mean, that must be a constant when you're out there saying, love to see you at the games in the summer, love to see you at the gala in the fall, but the needs 12 months a year.
Exactly, and I'm so glad you said that. People are under the impression that it's just about summer games down URI. We do 21 sports year-round from January through December, and without a doubt, the backbone of this organization are the volunteers. We need people who want to spend some time with our athletes. Don't necessarily know sports. You don't need that. You just need to want to have a good time, speak to our athletes, spend time with our athletes one-on-one, and you'll be a great volunteer. And we always say, if we get you once, we got you hooked. You're coming back.
Absolutely. So celebrating 50 years, you talk about the difference from 50 years ago to today. What do you envision, and what's your hope for the next 50 years for both the organization and the folks who take part?
I think the next big hurdle, Kate, we talk about this all the time, is employment. 80% of those with intellectual disabilities cannot find a job, are home, watching TV. And when they belong in a workplace, they want to work, they want to be active, they want to contribute to society. And employment, I think, is the next big hurdle. But education, college opportunities, and along those lines, they have the same wants that we had when we were growing up. But I think that we've come such a long way in 50 years. I think the next 50 are going to be bright as well.
Do you think that we have employers, businesses, companies here in Rhode Island and around the country that are ahead of the curve, really embracing having opportunities? I don't want to, have you pick or choose, but, do you think that companies and businesses are coming along with identifying employment opportunities?
Absolutely. We get those, sometimes our board will say to me, we're not about employment, we're a sports organization. But employment is an important thing because when you're 4 to age 21, you're in the public school system. At 21, you must leave. So then a parent at that point is saying, what do I do? What's the next step? And of course, the next step for most people would be employment. I was approached a few years back by CVS Health. And what an opportunity that would be for our athletes to work at their headquarters or in their warehouse or in their stores. And I can assure you that if any business is out there looking for quality people to work who really want to come to work each and every day, give us a call at Special Olympics Rhode Island.
So we talk about the support not just from the credit unions but the community at large. I have to imagine at the gala on Saturday there's some additional opportunities to help support Special Olympics of Rhode Island.
Absolutely. We've had over I would say 200 gifts this year alone just to support the 50th, to support opening ceremonies and to support the gala from almost every single business in Rhode Island. I picked credit unions of Rhode Island, but there are so many more who have donated. And when people come to the gala, there's going to be a live auction, there's going to be a silent auction, and then I'm going to get up to that microphone and I'm going to ask people to make a donation, a monetary donation to support our 50th. So fingers crossed that it's a successful event. I know it's going to be well attended. We're over 770 as far as attendance goes, and all to support a great organization. Yeah, why not? Keep calling. We'll take some more people. We'll sell some more tables. Absolutely.
Well, that's coming up this Saturday for 50 years. I'm glad we could have you and give us an update of what took place this summer, what's coming up this coming Saturday. Anything else you want folks to know while we have you here in the studio?
Well, again, I just, people of all ages. We're at 3,500 athletes from Westerly to Woonsocket, from the East Bay to the West Bay. Almost I know every community is well represented with athletes. So your support is greatly appreciated, and thank you, Rhode Island, for always supporting the great athletes in our organization.
Well, congrats again, hitting this 50 milestone, Danny. Congrats to all the athletes, their families, supporters, volunteers, and everyone involved with making Special Olympics what it is.
And thanks, GoLocal Prof.
Of course,
thank you.
Of course, always want to shine the light. So thank you for coming in. We'll provide more links to the gala this Saturday. Again, sounds like it's going to be a very good time. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center with our next guest. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us for the 4 o'clock News and Politics and Weather and Religion Hour. I'd like to welcome my next guest in, Jerry Barclay King with the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council. Jerry, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council for getting the word out about an event taking place this week, a seminar on tourism accounting, aviation accounting, other accounting as well, with Dr. Tadayuki Hara. So tell us a little bit about this event and why folks in the tourism industry might be interested.
The Sustainable Lab is a program that we have along with many of the different programs that we offer. The Blackstone Valley Tourism is a promoter of tourism and have been pushing tourism, and within the last 15 years we've produced this specific program that's geared towards education.
Okay.
And education from the environment standpoint, and just the culture and also the economics. So, tell you a little bit more about the program.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about this program.
So this program is geared towards bringing together the community within the Blackstone Valley and the state, just to educate them on the variety of ways that they could take this information and utilize it and how it impacts the community, the economics, and also just the environment. So we really focus on that just to kind of get the word out. And we bring experts in, and these experts take their time to educate us on ways that we could take that information and now spread it out to the variety of different communities that we serve.
And this is going to be the stakeholder, Dr. Tadayuki Hara, is going to be the keynote on Thursday.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so who do we expect to be turning out on Thursday? I'm sure you've gotten some RSVPs. Again, who are you going to have around this table or in the chairs listening to the speak and being part of this process?
Well, the guest list includes colleges, students, anyone within the tourism sector looking for information. In addition to the Tourism Commission, they all rallied together to try to make sure that this was a successful event. You know, we do have about 6 different tourism in the state, and this information that they can now take it to their different regions, but primarily hospitality, restaurants, attractions, visitor centers, and you name it.
You name it.
It's open to the public.
If you're involved in that tourism sector, again, sounds like Thursday will be an event not to be missed, and we'll be sure to provide links as well. Jerry, tell us a little bit about how long have you been with Blackstone Valley for?
Ooh, I have been with the Blackstone Valley for over 6 years.
Okay.
And I started off with just doing more of the local program, but now I do development, I do programs, and I work alongside with Bob and the rest of the team to make sure that we successfully produce events that will bring tourism within our region.
And so Thursday, obviously, you're probably going to take a deep breath after Thursday's done. And then look towards the next thing. I mean, you've been there 6 years, and the Blackstone Valley is continuing to be at the forefront of promoting events in the region. What's going to come up after this Thursday's event?
Chugga, 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 chugga. We're going to be doing the Polar Express. Choo-choo. We've been producing the Polar Express for the last 19 years, and this year we're expecting over 20,000 passengers.
20,000 passengers.
20,000 passengers.
How many times have you ridden the train?
Believe it or not, I hold the fort down on the station, okay?
Someone's got to do it. So everyone can't be just rocking the train.
I can't rock the train. I rock the station, but I don't rock the train.
Wow, 20,000 visitors. What do you tell folks? I mean, should folks be really getting their tickets ahead of time online, and is it like a reservation-based process?
It's definitely a reservation-based process. We've been selling tickets since January 1st. So the tickets are actually going, and they're going really fast. And you need to get your tickets, or else you're going to be on the sidelines or hanging out with me in the train depot.
As you said, never really. Maybe one of these years you'll get to ride a train.
I mean, I get on here and then my kids love it, though. They go every year.
Oh, my goodness.
I have to hold the fort down.
It's such a family-friendly, fun event, and one of the jewels of really Rhode Island tourism, especially for the winter time. And don't mean to put you on the spot, but let's look ahead to 2019. What are we excited about?
Ooh. More programs, more opportunities within producing economic development within the region, and just bringing more passengers and more tourists to the region, because that's all it's all about. Economic empowerment, the culture, community, education. So the more folks we can get out to our area and to the state, it's a big push. You know, we just had our annual meeting, and that was all about Fun Size in the Blackstone Valley and also in the state. So
What do you think of the Fun Size ads?
I love it. It's quick information, really quick, and that's it.
They're cute and they're quirky and they're fun. And what are they, like 7 seconds? I think we've shown them all. They're fun.
Yes, and it's fun. We have fun things to add. So we're always producing fun things. So come on out, get to know more about the Blackstone Valley, and hang out with us.
But again, as you said, Thursday, the event taking place this week, open up to all stakeholders in the community to come take part in the best practices that you've worked on this program. Robert Lever from New Commons taking part?
Robert Lever is going to be spearheading the workshop component of the event on Thursday. So, and that's going to run about 2 hours.
Okay.
And we're also looking to bring in some of the dignitaries that, and then we also have a lot of our local stakeholders that are very much interested in learning more on how these different components will impact and how it's broken down in different segments. You know, we know it's an impact, but we don't know exactly how it's actually captured and how it's filtered out. And that's what we're going to learn.
And the capturing is such an important tool, especially when it comes to funding, looking at state funding, and just looking at those deliverables to say, hey, this is how we impact the community.
Correct.
Well, we're going to provide more information for the event on Thursday. I wanted to get you in for the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council. Jerry Barclay King, I appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know you joke Bob usually does it, but I think Bob might have lost his turn. We might be having Jerry back from here on in.
Well, thanks for having
but
me.
we love Bob too. And I thank everyone for watching the show today. We had a full show from kicking off about finding out about what's new with Hurricane Michael with AccuWeather senior meteorologist Dave Samuel. We had Dr. Stephen Robinson with Crosspoint Providence for the Prayer Fest this week, and Denny DeJesus with Special Olympics. And that just about wraps up our Tuesday show here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. Again, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, our viewers. We'll be back here tomorrow on Wednesday, but in the meantime, go to golocalprov.com and find us on Facebook. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel.
Thank you.